Hi, I'm the Guitar Trooper, YouTube's favorite old guy. Radio stations occasionally find reason not to play certain songs. They, of course, don't play songs that are contrary to the station's declared format, which would risk loss of identity with their audience, but another reason would be due to the lyrics of the song presenting the possible risk of offending their audience, which carries with it the risk of listener boycotts, a situation that can keep a program director up all night worrying about how to save a station from going off the air. Upcoming are some songs that I find interesting because of the reasons that they were banned from play in one place or another. The interesting part about many banned songs is that they are frequently quite popular, and one has to wonder if, in at least some cases, they would be as popular now if they weren't so controversial then. So, with no particular order in mind, let's start with one that's perhaps a little mild. Will You Love Me Tomorrow, November 1960. This bouncy song, written by Carole King and Jerry Goffin and recorded by the Shirelles, made music history. But the song did have its problems. Even though the song was banned by several radio stations for its mild sexual content based upon the song's premise regarding an intimate encounter, it still sold over 1 million copies. It was the first #1 hit, by the way, to be recorded by a black female group. Number 2, My Generation, October 29th, 1965. With a somewhat oblique objection, The Who's My Generation was banned from the BBC for a reason not directly related to its lyrical content. Because the lyrics were sung by Roger Daltrey with occasional stuttered words, the BBC initially prohibited the song from receiving airplay, citing possible negative feedback from audience members who may have a stuttering issue. Later, though, when the song proved to be a huge hit, they reconsidered and reversed their decision, allowing its broadcast. 3. Hey Joe, The Jimi Hendrix Experience, December 16th, 1966. Besides regional broadcast bans due to the violence theme in the lyrics, the Jimi Hendrix version of Hey Joe also occupies a unique place in BBC censorship history. As the last act on the live Happening for Lulu show, Hendrix and the Experience began their segment as scheduled, playing Voodoo Child, with Hey Joe to be the finale. But then, after an apparent end of the piece, Hendrix abruptly announced,
"We'll just stop playing this rubbish and dedicate a song to the Cream, regardless of what kind of group they might be in. We'd like to dedicate to Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and Jack Bruce."
And then promptly transfers to an instrumental tribute to Cream's Sunshine of Your Love, causing the live show to run over. This was in spite of the animated arm gestures by the floor manager to cut the presentation. Hendrix either didn't notice or didn't care, and the performance continued. The camera shot of Lulu after the switch shows her wide-eyed with astonishment and helplessness. After the forced end of the extended performance, the producer was not acquiescent, pulling Hendrix and his band off the air and then banning them from the BBC. And it really was the last time that Hendrix performed in any capacity on the BBC. Number 4, God Only Knows, The Beach Boys, July 11th, 1966. It was a soft, harmonious, and sweet ballad from the Pet Sounds album, but was forbidden in some parts of the U.S. for blasphemy, even without stating or even inferring any negative connotation whatsoever. It was banned in those locations because it was considered unacceptable at the time to use the word God in a song. The Beach Boys knew that it might be controversial and considered lifting the deity's name from both the title and the lyrics, but ultimately decided to keep it as written, and it proved to be quite popular in the UK, posting at number 2, but only barely making it into the top 40 in the US at number 39. I'm sneaking into 1970 with this one, but I couldn't pass it up. Lola The Kinks, June 12, 1970. The lyrics of Lola were not garbled or otherwise disguised and were quite controversial, especially in 1970. It is likely that a great many listeners just liked the way the song sounded and didn't dwell on the lyrics, but the song surrounding the subject of a transsexual person named Lola was objectionable enough for paranoid program directors to take steps to mitigate the possible impact. There were many radio stations that sidestepped a few lines by performing their own edits on the song, either on a tape copy or just by fading out the song a tad early to avoid the last line. To be quite frank, though, by that point in the song, there were already so many references to Lola's confused gender that it wouldn't matter anyway, so the early fade-out tactic probably falls into the too little too late bucket. But that wasn't the only controversy regarding the lyrics of Lola. The Kinks' Lola was popular, and it reached number 2 on the UK charts and number 9 in the US, but only after Ray Davies was forced to return to the studio to re-record a line in the lyrics. The Kinks were on tour in the US, and the studio was in London, so Davies had to fly from the US to London and back just to record the modified lyrics. And it wasn't because of what you might think. The original recorded lyrics contained the trade name CocaCola,
Champagne and it tastes like Coca-Cola.
which violated BBC Radio's policy against product placement. Davies flew 6,000 miles to change Coca-Cola to Cherry Cola.
Drink champagne and it tastes just like cherry cola.
And it wasn't the first time that this policy choked a pop song. The Beatles' Come Together in 1969 was banned by the BBC for the exact same reason. The lyrics contained Coca-Cola. Well, the difference is, Lennon did not change the lyrics once he found out. Number 6, Louie The Kingsman, May 1963. Yeah, you probably know this one. The Kingsman's version of Louie caught a lot of flack on US radio due to perceived obscene lyrics. The published recording was, in fact, lifted from a demo tape that the band had recorded for a cruise line. It had no distinct lyrics, obscene or otherwise. Although a 31-month FBI investigation of the song was launched, it proved to be inconclusive as they were unable to interpret the true lyrics, even though an audible F-bomb was dropped by the Kingsmen's drummer Lynn Easton during the song's recording after he missed a drum fill. Oddly, that 4-letter word, still audible to this day on the recording, was never mentioned by the FBI investigation. Number 7, Let's Spend the Night Together. The Rolling Stones, January 13th, 1967. The Stones were no strangers to controversy, and their in-your-face defiance of being wholesome in any way probably spurred their popularity, at least among their core audience. Enter super straight-laced Ed Sullivan, who, after booking the band for a live performance on January 5th, 1967, imposed a last-minute restriction to the performance. After hearing the early rehearsals, both Ed and CBS officials demanded that the lyrics and title be changed to Let's Spend Some Time Together. One has to wonder why the songs weren't vetted by both Ed and CBS before the week of the performance, but for whatever reason, they didn't do it. Nevertheless, back to the dressing room, the Stones balked at the idea, but Sullivan finally told them, either the song goes or you go. It's so tempting to do an Ed Sullivan impersonation here, but I can't do him, so you're safe. Being on the Ed Sullivan Show was a big deal, as it assured exposure of new songs to millions of prospective buyers, in a day when access to live performances was comparatively rare. Faced with Ed's ultimatum, the band gave in, but the producers would soon find out that Mick Jagger was very skillful at skating the edge. During the performance, partially mimed to rehearsal instrumental audio, he noticeably rolled his eyes during the modified lyrics and actually slipped once at least by using the real words on a verse, causing him to lose rhythm trying to catch himself. They made it through the song, though, with Ed even giving them a smile and polite applause afterwards. They were not banned from the show either. They were booked on a tape performance later in 1969. Do you have some others of your own? Just add a comment. Let's hear them. You can also use comments to suggest video subject matter regarding pop music between the 1950s and the 1970s. This would also be a great time to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet a subscriber, and it's free. Just click on the subscribe button and use the first bell icon that's at the top on the drop down when you subscribe so that you will get notification of content as soon as it's posted. If you are already a subscriber, thanks, but consider upgrading your subscription to channel member status and become a Trooper Fellow. All you need to do is click on that button that's available on the main screen of the channel or on the browser page that says Join. Being a member gives you exclusive early access to new videos days before they are available to the public. Thanks again for watching.